Hey guys, I want to talk to you about the film The Best Man, 1964. I'm going to give you the synopsis. I'm going to read it off of my phone. I just Googled it, so you can find this yourselves if you look up the movie. Um, I'm just notoriously bad at explaining what these movies are about, so I figured I'd make it easier and read this for you. Secretary of State William Russell, Henry Fonda, lives by his principles, but is haunted by recent sexual indiscretion that threatens both his marriage and his career. Senator Joe Cantwell, Cliff Robertson, presents himself as the people's candidate, yet his determination to win at all costs is also his great flaw. These two frontrunners for their party's presidential nomination vie for the support of the outgoing president, Lee Tracy, and resort to mudslinging in a very public contest. Um, Henry Fonda's character, it says that he's haunted by recent sexual indiscretions. He's also haunted by the fact that he's mentally ill. Um, I think he's bipolar. I think that's what. Though I think they use the term manic, so that's also something that causes problems for him. Anyway, a little more about the film. It was directed by Franklin J. Schaffner, who also directed Planet of the Apes and Patton. The screenplay was by Gore Vidal, and it's based on his play by the same title. And as you heard when I was giving the synopsis, it stars Henry Fonda, Cliff Robertson, and Lee Tracy. Lee Tracy was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for this role, and I think the 37th Academy Awards. He was nominated along with Peter Ustinov in Top Copy, Stanley Holloway in My Fair Lady, and Edmund O'Brien in 7 Days in May. Oh, and I think, I think John Gielgud. I think I forgot to write him down. I think he was also there for Beckett. Don't quote me on that. Check it online. That's what Google's for. So yeah, that I've seen 5 of those movies. Those are all really good performances, I think, personally. But that year it went to Peter Ustinov, so Lee Tracy didn't win. I think this was Lee Tracy's last film, so that kind of sucks that he didn't win for this, but we definitely deserved that nomination. So I watched this movie when the Republican National Convention was going on because I'm a political junkie, but I didn't want to watch the Republican National Convention, so I replaced it with a film that had a fictional Republican National Convention. And in case anyone doubts my status as a political junkie, I have this West Wing Weekly pin because The West Wing is my all-time favorite show because it's my beautiful liberal fantasy. And I just love it. I really liked the film, partially because I'm a political junkie, and also because there were some really great performances. Cliff Robertson was great, so was Henry Fonda, but my favorite was Lee Tracy. And I don't know if you guys watch Scandal, but if you do, these names will make sense. His character really reminded me of Cyrus Bean from Scandal. I think it had more to do with the fact that Lee Tracy resembles the actor that plays Cyrus Bean, Jeff Perry. I thought they looked really, they look alike, I think. And I just loved watching Tracy's character wheeling and dealing and all the backroom politics. That was really cool. It's just the stuff I'm into. And it also really reminded me of a movie that I watched about 5 years ago called Advise and Consent that came out 2 years earlier in 1962, which was directed by Otto Preminger and based on a novel by Alan Drury. And one of the main reasons that The Best Man reminded me of Advise and Consent was the fact that Henry Fonda was in both films. And in both films, in The Best Man, he's Secretary of State running for president, and in Advise and Consent, he's being vetted to become Secretary of State. And in Advise and Consent, he also has this sort of hidden past. Advise and Consent is a little more noirish. That's a word now. If it isn't, it is now. But other than that, you get the same sort of vibe. The films sort of look so similar, which is weird because I think you definitely get more of a stage play vibe from The Best Man. Not surprising since it's from Gore Vidal's play. Another thing that really reminded me of Advise and Consent while I was watching The Best Man was that male homosexuality was brought up in both films. It plays a major role in both of them, I think, if I remember Advise and Consent correctly. Which is not surprising because Gore Vidal was bisexual, and he was of the opinion that everyone was a little bisexual. I don't think I agree with that, but that's what he believed. So it's not surprising that this came up in the film. Though, I don't know, I always feel a little surprised when stuff like this comes up in studio era films. Like, I don't know, 1964 feels like a little early for this sort of thing. Like, it's not like a pre-code. I think I'd be less surprised if it came up in a pre-code. I have been less surprised when lesbian, gay, and bisexual characters are in pre-codes. But in 1964, I was like, what? It was awesome. So that was cool. And it also reminded me of The West Wing a little bit, only because Henry Fonda's character is named Bill Russell, and in The West Wing, one of the vice presidents is named Bob Russell, Bingo Bob Russell. He also runs for president. So, yeah, I just had a blast watching this movie and making connections and just all the political stuff. I think that's all I want to say about that. So, you should go watch it if you're into politics, or if you're a fan of Cliff Robertson or Henry Fonda. Yeah, dude, Lee Tracy's performance is just really great. I loved it. So yeah, maybe you can find it online or rent it somewhere. And that's all, my friends. Talk to you later.